YouTube, how's it going? The GOAT House is back with some more 2019 NFL draft grades. This one's for the AFC North. We're going through every division, and then once we're through all the divisions, we're going to rank all the teams together and find out, in my opinion, who had the best draft. So we're going through the AFC North teams today. Two important things. I value the whole draft equally, every round equally. I'm looking for value. And another thing is I don't want anybody to overreact from each team's worst pick, in my opinion, because it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad pick. Sometimes it does, but not always. Right before we get started, that's our subscriber goal. We're almost there thanks to the great support. You guys out there have been awesome. There's our Twitter in the bottom right. Please click that like button. Much appreciated. Let's start with the Browns. The best pick, in my opinion, was Greedy Williams, the corner from LSU. He's my cornerback one of the class. And I was surprised he was there in the second round. You know, you could have put Mac Wilson as the best pick too because they got tremendous value with him. I put him under the sleeper pick because it was a day 3 pick there and it was a steal there. And then the worst pick for me, though, was the kicker in the 5th round, Austin Siebert. I'm not really a fan of drafting a kicker at all. I'm risking it in undrafted free agency. It's worth the risk in undrafted free agency, not in the actual draft. Maybe the 7th round. That's just for me, maybe, but so I did not like that pick. Breaking down the rest of their draft, we talked about Greedy Williams, Taki in the 3rd round. He actually went a little earlier than I thought, but I really do like the fit. I like him. He's definitely a weapon. He can really play multiple different positions. He's a pass rusher, but he's a stand-up linebacker. He can cover. So did go a little early, but I do like the fit. I like the pick. Sheldrick Redwine, safety from Miami. This is about where I thought he would go, athletic safety type of guy that the Browns needed there. We talked about Mac Wilson being an absolute steal. I had a 2nd round grade on him. They gave him in the 5th, so it's an absolute steal. Very good value there, 100 out of 100 for me in terms of value grade. And then we talked about the kicker in the 5th. Wasn't a huge fan of it. Drew Forbes, I had as undrafted. That was a 6th round pick, the guard from Southeast Missouri. So they took him in the 6th round when I had him undrafted. And Donnie Lewis, I had undrafted as well. They took him early 7th. So really good start for the Browns. You know, Taki, I like the fit, maybe a little early, but some really good players through 5 rounds. And their last 3 picks, I wasn't a huge fan of. But I gave him an A- because there was some really good steals in there. Really, Greedy Williams and Mac Wilson are kind of bringing that average up a little bit. It started off real good. Maybe it started off around that A+A range, and then kind of dropped down, though, the last 3 picks. So, yeah, honestly, through round 5, the first pick in round 5, probably in that A+ range, honestly. Then the 3 last picks, a little bit of reaches for me, players I went out of drafted, so... but still a good grade. They definitely got better, A- for the Browns. Next team we're going to is the Ravens. The best pick for me was Marquise Brown, the wide receiver from Oklahoma. In the 1st round, they trade back a few spots and still get the guy that's a fit and the guy that Lamar Jackson needs. So it makes a ton of sense to me. And then in terms of the worst pick, I had Trace McSorley, and it's not really a terrible worst pick, because it was their last pick, 6th round. I think he fits their offense if he plays quarterback. I just had an undrafted grade on him, so I had to point out the worst pick here, but it's not a terrible pick here in the 6th round. And then the sleeper pick, to me, is Ben Powers in the 4th round, the guard from Oklahoma, because he actually could start. There's a possibility he can start at left guard. They got Alex Lewis in there right now, so that's something to look out for. Let's go over the rest of the draft here. Talk about Marquise Brown. Jalen Ferguson in the 3rd. He could have been a 2nd round pick. Solid pass rusher. They definitely need another guy on the edge. So that's a very solid pick. Miles Boykin from Notre Dame. This is about where I thought he would go, but I do really like the pick. They needed more receivers. I'm glad they went out and got 2. Miles Boykin paired with Marquise Brown is, I love that. So that's a great pick there for Boykin. With Boykin, Justice Hill went about where I thought he would go. A little different style to bring to the Ravens. Some speed and quickness. So I do like that. A back that can catch the ball. We talked about Ben Powers. I like that pick. Iman Marshall, cornerback from USC. I don't know if they really need another corner. I know they need some guys with a future, but they already had the best depth at corner. But I do like Marshall. I think he actually can slide back to safety if they need him to. So you get a DB that can play here. So okay with that pick. Dalen Mack in the 5th is a great pick. I thought he would go, late 3rd round probably. They gave him in the 5th, so that's a solid defensive lineman to add. And then Trace McSorley we went over. So overall, there's nothing I dislike about this draft. I think McSorley, not a big deal there. It really helps your offense out a lot, getting the 2 receivers. You get in the running back that can catch the ball in the backfield, and then you get a guard that can possibly start here. And you also fill the edge rusher need with Jalen Ferguson. So I really like this draft. I really like this draft. I gave it an A+. They definitely got better. That's what I'm looking for. They definitely got better. They helped Lamar Jackson a lot. They didn't. I was worried they would kind of overreact about losing some guys on defense, and they already had really good depth. And they didn't overreact or anything about reaching for some defensive guys. They kind of just retooled it a little bit, mainly focused on the offense, which they need to do. So I'm really impressed with the Ravens draft altogether. They get an A+, only the second A+ I've given out so far, I believe. And yeah, they did a good job. Next team up, the Bengals. Best pick, Jermaine Pratt. If you remember, Jermaine Pratt was my number 1 sleeper in the draft, one of my guys. I had him with an early second-round grade, so they steal him there. He's impressive. He's very impressive to me because he's a former free safety, turned linebacker, no problem with tackling. You would think he would have a struggle with the tackling situation. No problem. He's a tackling machine. Really no weaknesses besides shedding blocks sometimes. He can cover, he can get pressure at a quarterback. He's a do-it-all linebacker. He's the type of guy that can have a Darius Leonard type impact in terms of the impact and I guess the position. So Pratt was a great pick. Worst pick was Drew Sample to me. I was a little confused about this one in the second round. I mean, he's a solid tight end. He can block and he can catch the ball. But I was caught off guard a little bit, taking him a little early. And the sleeper is Travion Williams, who was my number 3 running back in the class, and they get him on day 3. Very impressive. And they need another guy after Joe Mixon for sure. And this is the type of guy that made a lot of sense. Speed, knows how to hit the hole, has good vision. So I do like that pick. That's a sleeper pick. A guy to watch out for, get some carries. If Joe Mixon goes down, they're okay because they have guys like this. But going over the entire draft, Jonah Williams was a good pick. Kind of expected him to go there if he was on the board. Drew Sample, we talked about, bit of a reach, but they do get a blocking tight end in there. Round 3, I love the pick, and Jermaine Pratt, that's a 100 out of 100 value pick for me. Love the Ryan Finley pick. He was my number 5 quarterback. They get him in round 4. I thought it was possible he can go round 3. He can actually take over the starting job in the near future, possibly. Renner, I liked a lot. I liked him 3rd round. If he went 2nd, I would have been okay with it. I think he'll have a better pro career than college. They put him at nose tackle a lot. I didn't think he fit there, and he's coming in to a 4-3 team, going to play D-tackle. I like that pick. They get Michael Jordan in the 4th, the guard from Ohio State. Can play center as well. So some much-needed O-line depth. Solid pick, about where I thought he would go. Travion Williams, I had a 3rd-round grade on, late 3rd-round grade. He's my number 3 running back. They get him in the 6th. 100 out of 100 value there. Deshaun Davis, linebacker from Auburn, about where I thought he would go. He was a tackling machine. Solid pick there. Rodney Anderson, running back Oklahoma. So another running back, and I'm okay with it because now they got a good running back room. 3 running backs for the future there with Joe Mixon. And Rodney Anderson he could be a sleeper pick too because he's a top 3 running back in this class if he didn't have health concerns, with several injuries over the year. But when he's on the field, he's really, really good. Top 3 running back for me. So limit his carries, limits the chance of him getting hurt. He can break couple runs for a touchdown possibly, so that's the type of back he is, and he can catch the ball. So that's a good pick in the 6th round. And then 7th round, Jordan Brown, cornerback from South Dakota State. About where I had him graded, but I heard he possibly can even go 6th or even 5th, so that's a solid pick there. So really, I like this draft. I think the Bengals had a really good draft last year too, now that I'm remembering that. They filled needs. The only one pick, I don't want to say it's a bad pick, but it's a reach in Drew Sample. But I think they really got better. I don't really dish out a lot of A+, but we already got 2 on this video. I like the Bengals draft. They did a heck of a job last year. They did it again this year. Really looking forward to the Jermaine Pratt pick. Some of these other picks, I thought they did a hell of a job. So another very impressive team there, the Bengals. We're moving on. The Steelers, last team in the division. Best pick to me was Devin Bush. They've been missing, that linebacker since the Shazier injury. Didn't have the chance to go and get a guy like this, and now they have all this ammo, all these picks, and they can move up, hop the Bengals, and go do it, and they did it. And I'm not a fan of really most of the time trading up and giving up picks, but in this case, I love it because they had the ammo and they had to go up and get this linebacker. There's only 2 of these guys in the draft. Devin White was already gone much earlier, So I like the Devin Bush pick. I like the fit. It's what they needed. Round 3 then, since they didn't have round 2. Deontay Johnson, wide receiver, Toledo. People were confused because there was some receivers maybe a little more well-known, I guess, that were still available. But Deontay Johnson I like. Kind of a poor man Stephon Diggs in my eyes there. Very good route runner, very good footwork, good athleticism, good speed. So, he'll work out there with the Steelers. So, solid pick there. Justin Lane in the 3rd round, that's about where I think he should have went. He was starting to get some early 2nd round talk. I kind of kept him in the 3rd round conversation. They needed a corner, so they're still filling needs. Even though they traded up, got rid of their 2nd, they're still filling needs out here. So I like that. Benny Snell in the 4th. I like Benny Snell. I don't think this is a reach, but I forgot to go over. We'll get there. I forgot to go over my worst pick and my sleeper pick, but we'll get there. Benny Snell, I don't think it was a reach, but I was surprised he still went this early because I like Benny Snell. I thought he was going to drop because of the speed. He has pretty much everything but speed, but I do like him. It's a Steelers-type running back. Don't have a problem with that pick. Zach Gentry was my worst pick for them, and I had an undrafted grade on him. They took him in the 5th. I was surprised he came out. He's really lanky, tight end. It's almost like he can't control his own length sometimes. A little off balance, had some drops. How can he take hits? Sometimes it just made him drop the ball, really. So I wasn't a big Zach Gentry fan, but you can see the upside he has with his length. So I guess more time learning and practicing, he can develop. I can see it, but a little early. Sutton Smith was a little early too. I thought undrafted. He had the production at NIU. He had all kinds of production. Undersized guy, and I don't have a problem if they're undersized unless it shows. Gets to the Senior Bowl, and one-on-ones, he's getting pancaked every play, so it kind of showed for me there. I think he fits this defense, but he needs to put on some strength, I think, or just he can't be getting beat up by top-tier offensive linemen like he was the Senior Bowl or against good competition. So I think that was a reach. Isaiah Buggs was a good pick in the 6th, and that's my sleeper pick for the Steelers because I thought he could have went, 4th would have been okay, but 5th made sense. They get him in the 20th with the 20th pick in the 6th round. He actually led in sacks in Alabama. I think it was due to the other players helping him out there, forcing his way. But solid player from Bama, obviously, so he has some upside there in the 6th round. Other 6th round pick was Ulysses Gilbert, linebacker from Akron. Very athletic linebacker, pretty solid in coverage. Thought maybe 7th round, but they're basically there with the 35th pick in the 6th round. And then Derwin Gray, tackle from Maryland. 7th round undrafted for me. They get him in the 7th. So there are some picks, I really like. Devin Bush, I really like. Justin Lane was a solid. Isaiah Buggs, I really like. But then there's some picks that are a little bit of a reach, but I do think they fit. So it's kind of a weird draft, kind of back and forth for me in terms of, looking at my board, in terms of value too. I gave it a B+ though. What keeps it up from just a B, I guess, picks like Devin Bush, Isaiah Buggs, and then filling needs. It fits and needs. I think they really did. I'm not all about going to get needs. If you have a bunch of picks, you definitely should fill the needs, but I'm more about the value of the pick. Don't pass on somebody. But they did fill some needs there with all their picks. They made right choices with the trades. So B+. The rest of the division was in the A range, but the Steelers did do a good job. So we actually seen, I'm not trying to dish out a bunch of A+, but I really, really like the Ravens in the Bengals draft. I think they really got better. They filled needs at the same time of taking best available. So I really like what those teams did. They definitely got better. Can't wait to see how those guys play this season. So that's going to do it for the AFC North. We're going to go through all the divisions. We'll get there through this week, and then once we're done, I'd say Friday, hopefully we will do, I'll put all the teams' drafts together, and we'll rank them from worst to first. So we'll see. I have a couple A+, so we'll see which A+ actually won the draft. So it should be a lot of fun. And then we're going to start getting into predicting the upcoming NFL season. We're going to cover the NBA draft once we're at the lottery and past. So a lot going on here at the Goat House. Can't wait to do it all. Thanks for everyone's support. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.